Going out and finding new business is never easy. And in fact, there's only so many ways that we can do that. Now, we know that there's a bunch of ways out there that people leverage on a regular basis that, well, when you're receiving it on the other end, you don't like it as much. When you're doing it on the front end, you also don't like it as much. What am I talking about? We're talking about cold calling. Now, if you're going to leverage cold calling to go out and prospect, well, I'm going to give you some tips right now to help you along so that the cold calling actually produces opportunities for you. Thank you once again for visiting my channel. If you like this video, go ahead and click like, of course, subscribe, and make sure you follow us along for all the videos that we offer to help you go and build more mind share so that you get more market share. Okay, let's talk about 5 tips that you can leverage when it comes to cold calling. Tip number 1, be prepared. Know who you're calling and know why you're calling. Also understand that if you're calling just to sell me something and it's the first time I've spoken to you, it's probably not going to go the way you want. So in terms of preparation, know who you're calling, know what you want to say to them, and hey, be ready to be rejected. The more prepared you are, the stronger your mindset will be, and the more success you're going to have coming out the other end. Tip number 2, be confident. If you call me up and you're timid, if you sound nervous, if you don't have the answers, if you don't really know what you're talking about, or you didn't show up prepared, chances are, especially if you get somebody a little bit tougher on the phone or a little bit more maybe A-type, well, they're going to ask you a whole bunch of hard questions. They're going to challenge you, and they're going to try to push your buttons to see how far you can go. They're going to see maybe they're going to test you for your negotiation skills. They're going to test you for your preparation. We already talked about tip number 1's got to be prepared. Well, again, when we talk about tip number 2, we're talking about be confident. Know what you're trying to achieve, know what you want to say, know why you're calling, have the answers that these people are looking for. The more you've got that, the more you're going to instill confidence in them that you might just be the right person to work with. Number 3, always be respectful. Remember, you called them. You might have interrupted them while they're having dinner, while they're having a conversation with somebody, while they're spending time with family. They probably don't want to hear from you. So they might react the wrong way to you. They might tell you to fly a kite. They might hang up on you. They might sit there and literally just ream you out while you're on that phone. Now, a natural reaction might be that you might want to turn around and ream back, yell back, start to tell them, they're being rude or whatever it is. But what I want you to remember, never burn a bridge. You never know what opportunity is going to come down the pipe later on. You never know who might realize that they were completely rude to you, who picks the phone back up a moment later and says, hey, I'm really sorry I treated you that way. I'm sure you're just trying to make a living. I apologize. Didn't mean to be so rude. In fact, had this, and this go on in my life today, and quite frankly, just called at the wrong time. We never really know. And again, part of prospecting, we don't know who, we don't know when, we don't know where. Well, the same thing is when you pick up that phone, you don't know where you're going to interrupt somebody. You don't know what kind of, mood they're in. But be respectful. Be respectful of their time. Be respectful of the mood they may be in. Be respectful of the things that they might say. Always remember that everything we're doing out there is us building mind share. And what I want to be doing, I want you to be doing, is building positive mind share. So that when people get to that point that they're, thinking about, let's say, what it is that you do for a living, they think about you, and they think about you in a good way. Because last thing we want is we don't want people walking around talking poorly about us. Because that's negative mind share, and that doesn't build market share. So always be respectful of other people's time and other people's, what they got going on in life and the things you say and the things they say back to you, and you'll create more opportunity for yourself. Tip number 4, be personable. Be somebody that they can actually communicate with. See, if you call up and you sound like a robot, or you call up and you're very businesslike and there's just no relationship, there's no personality, well, then you're probably not somebody that we really want to talk to. In fact, if I just sat here right now and gave you a video like this and just talked to you in completely monotone with no facial expression, you'd probably think, this guy's really boring and I can't watch him any longer. But instead, that's not who I am, so therefore it's not how I record. And quite frankly, who you see, well, that's what you get. Or what you get is what you see. You know what I'm talking about. Point in hand, we got personality. And part of building relationships with people is to be able to have personality. Not a personality that's too much for others, but one that's going to complement others. One where you're going to find your people and, hey, they're going to find their people. So the more personal you are, the more human you are, the more real and genuine that you are, the more people will see you as a person rather than as business, the more opportunity you'll have to actually have a conversation. And that conversation, that's what gets us to know each other and whether we like each other and whether at some point we're going to trust each other. And if we get to that point where we trust each other, well, guess what? Doing business together just became that much easier. Tip number 5, follow up. This always seems to be the last one in any prospecting, but it's to follow up, follow up, follow up. Again, if we're going to put in the effort to connect, if we're going to put in the effort to have the conversation with complete strangers, if we're going to put in the effort to do, all the things that we're supposed to be doing to help people understand who we are and how we can help them, well, last thing you want to do is put in all this energy to go and try to create an opportunity, but then not put in the same energy to actually, convert the opportunity. In order to convert, we need to follow up. You see, think about the 4-step attack plan. First, we got to generate the lead. Then we've got to follow up with the lead. Then we can convert the lead. And once that's done, step number 4, get repeat and referral business from people that already know us, like us, and trust us. And that right there is your lowest hanging fruit. So in order to get there, step 2, after you've done all the heavy lifting to do the prospecting, you have to follow up. And this comes back to putting everybody into your CRM, putting everybody on your 10-year plans, that there's always a next touch point with somebody. And the more consistent we are with those touch points, again, we don't know who, we don't know where, we don't know when, but if we're building the right amount of mind share, hey, you know it. We're getting the right amount of market share. So there's your 5 tips when it comes to cold calling, how to prospect in cold calling, the things you need to know to have more success when you make those cold calls.